If you or your neighbor's government has turned tyrannical or sold themselves out to greedy corporate interests, just commandeer a skip drone and send the Earth Directorate an SOS, and we will respond immediately.
Please allow 6 months to 10 years, depending on your proximity to the nearest Earth Directorate base and any unforeseen encounters.
Welcome to The Outer Worlds 2. Any similarities to real...
The Outer Worlds 2 is a full-fat sequel with even more jokes to let fly about capitalism and bureaucracy than before, and a much larger world to explore. The game follows a member of the Earth Directorate who gets sent to the space colony Arcadia, where sudden rifts in space-time have begun cropping up to cut colonies off from Earth entirely. Different factions have also emerged here, stirring up political troubles for those scattered across its many planets. Mega corporations like Auntie's Choice are looking to squeeze them for all they've got, while cultists have emerged to worship these mysterious rifts. The main story is long and winding, mostly concerning the player's hunt for an apparent terrorist named Augustine de Vries, who is in the middle of a grander scheme revolving around Arcadia's rifts. Admittedly, we were frequently lost and confused while making our way through the story. There are hordes of NPCs, settlements, and factions to keep track of, making this campaign feel markedly more obtuse than that of the first game. Thankfully, the game's penchant for silliness and reactive world do the heavy lifting here. Punchy dialogue and genuinely great writing takes turn to share the spotlight, with misadventures, high-stakes arbitrations, and cartoonishly funny questlines. When it all comes together under the shadow of absolutely dystopian levels of capitalism, it starts to feel like The Outer Worlds has carved out a rather unique identity for itself as a franchise. That's a compliment, despite how it sounds.
Stuff as a specific request.
A colourful variety of weapons with different ammo types allows players to find their own combat playstyles in The Outer Worlds 2, and melee combat has seen an upgrade as well. While meleeing enemies to death still doesn't feel nearly as good as blasting them to death with science weapons, melee weapons do boast more weight and impact across the board, making clobbering enemies to death feel crunchy and satisfying. That being said, the combat system could use quite a bit of fine-tuning still before Obsidian can truly rest on its laurels. Ammo pickups are strangely rare in the open world, leaving players to rely on constant workbench detours to craft more ammo, if they even have the resources for it. Guns also suffer from muddy audio and visual feedback when firing off rounds at distant enemies. It just doesn't feel as good as it should to shoot a stream of acid at enemies when it doesn't sound or feel like actual liquid. Whether players are trying to find a secret weapon, defeat a boss, or get through an enemy base, Obsidian has ensured that players are able to complete most quests on their own term. A wide spread of skills like speech, observation, and leadership allow players to shape their playthrough in different ways. Putting more points into combat-specific skills will allow you to get through most combat encounters easily, though you might have a more difficult time talking your way out of a sticky situation. Likewise, putting all your points into stealth and speech might allow you to bypass entire boss fights, though you might lose out on some XP and items. The Outer Worlds 2's settings feel deeply reactive to the player's choices throughout the campaign. Small dialogue choices can influence what companions do much later on in the story, and key quests can manipulate the fates of NPCs and entire settlements upon their resolution. It all depends on how you approach the story. Will you play as a hero here to save the day, a bumbling idiot with access to heavy weaponry, or the old fan favorite, a maniacal supervillain?
What a nice and thoughtful thing to say, dear.
Obsidian also adds another layer of role-playing with the addition of flaws. Flaws are powerful perks given to players solely based on their in-game behavior, though they come with an equally powerful cost. From the kleptomaniac flaw that has players automatically steal anything they see, to the compulsive liar flaw, which makes you lie to everyone you meet. It's a fun little way of acknowledging player behavior that we haven't seen before in a video game, and do hope that more games pick up on it down the line. It's a genuine treat to see these flaws pop up during gameplay, simultaneously chiding you for your predictable behavior while offering you a little treat on the side.
So you did come. Good.
The game's companions are a big disappointment, unfortunately. The Outer Worlds 2's companions are so completely devoid of personality that our experience would hardly have differed if we didn't bring them into the field at all. They pipe up with the occasional one-liner during quests, sure, but quite a few of them just don't have anything interesting to say. The Outer Worlds infamously had companions like Parvati constantly chime in to keep players on the straight and narrow. Sure, it's annoying when players are forced to play a certain way depending on their companions of choice, but it feels outright boring when companions have nothing to bring to the table besides random quips and world-building flavor.
If you're sure, Commander, but I'd watch myself around this one.
While The Outer Worlds 2 may disappoint with a poor selection of companions and unremarkable gameplay, the level of agency it gives players in influencing the fate of its world and characters is worth a playthrough on its own. There's a wide swath of choices which players have to make throughout the course of this story campaign, and it's genuinely impressive how far-reaching their consequences can become, even towards the endgame. The game's writing and dark humor help make some of its darker elements more palatable, though its story becomes most compelling when it drops the irony altogether. It's clear that Obsidian isn't going to return to the world of Fallout anytime soon, and that's okay. The Outer Worlds is proving to be a more than worthy successor, if only spiritually.
May the numbers guide you, Commander.